Crazy statistic. 67% of engaged Americans said they found it difficult to have a serious financial conversation with their future spouse, at least according to a survey conducted by NerdWallet and Zola, the wedding website. That is wild. That means 2/3 of people who are about to get married are not prepared because whether you want to admit it or not, marriage is a legal contract. And because it's a legal contract, there are a lot of financial elements that are tied to marriage. The last thing you want to do before you enter into a marriage contract is not understand how finances work before, during, and even after a marriage, if it comes to that. Now look, I'm not saying that you can't have your own traditional, social, cultural views about marriage. Marriage can be about love. It can be about family. It can be a religious union. It can be about partnership. I just want to make it clear, especially for the women out there, we have to understand how marriage and money work before getting married. Your financial health can and will impact the health of your marriage, and the health of your marriage can determine the likelihood for your financial security and success. So, if you are engaged, you're planning to get married soon, or maybe you're just considering marriage in the future and you're trying to get educated, then this video is for you. I'm gonna cover 7 financial related to-dos that you wanna do with your partner before you get married. At the very least, you wanna be aware of these things and understand why they are important. And for those of you watching this video who might already be married and maybe you're concerned about whether it's too late, I just want to let you know it's not. It's never too late. Most of the things I describe in this video can be applied to your situation as well. It just makes it a lot easier if you have a partner who's open and willing to learn and improve your finances along with you. For those new here, hello and welcome. My name is Lissa Prudencio. I'm a personal finance expert, an accredited financial counselor, and the co-host of a NetNet podcast, where we talk about hidden costs and help you navigate every financial decision in life. Check out our podcast, and specifically, there's an episode called Are Weddings Worth It that I think you might find entertaining. I am currently engaged to be married next year, and my fiance and I, we talk about money all the time. Not all the time in an unhealthy way, but we communicate very openly and transparently about money, and I've found that it has helped us a lot in preparing for this union. Talking openly about finances and making plans and decisions together has definitely strengthened our relationship and is gonna help us hopefully have a very successful marriage. So, all that said, here are 7 financial to-dos before you get married. Number 1, get comfortable talking about money. That statistic I mentioned earlier in the video is not okay. I don't think that is okay that 2/3 of people about to get married can't talk about money. So in general, marriage aside, we should start talking more about money and not let it be so taboo because it touches so many aspects of our lives. It's a very important topic to talk about. But when it does come to our partnerships and potentially marriages, it's very important to be able to discuss finances with one another. Now, if this is your first time talking about money with your partner, you can save the logistics for later. What you want to do when you're opening up this conversation at first is to just open up dialogue. Try to get to know each other's money stories. Everyone has a money story, and what it is it is your personal narrative about money. It is all of your beliefs about money based on all of your experiences and all of the knowledge you've gathered throughout life. And that narrative about money influences how you perceive it, how you handle it, how you manage it, and it influences all the decisions you make about money. Like many things in life, a lot of this narrative is formed in your childhood, in your upbringing. That doesn't mean you can't change it and you can't change habits later the more you learn, but a lot of it is formulated very early on, and a lot of times people don't even know it exists. How exactly can you learn about your partner's money story, and how can you share more about yours to them? Well, you can ask open-ended questions, and here are a couple of examples you can get started with. You can ask, were your parents good with money? What was your first experience with money that you remember? What financial habits did you get from your family, and which ones did you choose to change or not adopt from your family? How do you feel about money today? All of those questions can help open up a dialogue between you two that is non-judgmental, that doesn't really get into numbers just yet, and it'll just make it a lot more comfortable to talk about money. All right, number 2 on the list, discuss financial goals. So this is the next step. After you've opened up the conversation about money, it should be a lot easier to talk about more of the details. Now, even before we get into the numbers and all that, this is just about talking about your goals in life as individuals and also as a couple. What you want to do is understand where your financial goals align, where they relate, where they overlap, and even where they completely differ. Right now, nothing is off the table. You just want to get to know each other a lot better and understand each other's goals. Maybe one person has always wanted to own a home and the other person doesn't really care. That's going to be a decision you're going to have to tackle eventually in marriage if you have different views on it. So right now, without judgment, without trying to put anyone down, you just want to get to know the other person's goals. As a married couple, and honestly, even if you're not married, having a partner, you're gonna make a lot of life decisions together. Where you live, how expensive or how frugal your lifestyle is gonna be, what grocery store you're gonna shop at, whether or not you want kids, whether or not you want pets, when you want to retire. Like I said, if you cohabitate with someone or have a shared life with someone, you probably already make these decisions. The thing is, with marriage, it brings another layer into it. The legal side of marriage actually has an impact on how your assets are treated from an ownership perspective. It has an impact on how much taxes you will owe. Marriage can impact what types of government benefits you qualify for or don't qualify for. So altogether, you guys want to be in lockstep with your financial goals if you want to have a successful marriage. All right, number 3, financial to-dos, financial disclosures. You want to discuss and disclose information about your finances. So this is the meat of it all. If you want to enter your marriage on a high note when it comes to money, you want to be transparent and disclose the details about your finances. This is a little bit different, but kind of related to how you will be managing money. But what you want to share here is what you're each bringing to the table, good and bad. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna matter. It does matter. Specifically, I'm talking about sharing information about how much assets you have, like how much money you have, how much you have in investments, and also sharing your liabilities, which is what you owe. What are your debts? How much do you have in debt? Now, believe it or not, there's no law saying that you have to tell your partner these numbers before you get married. Hence the statistic at the beginning of the video where a lot of people aren't even talking about money before marriage. But I truly believe it is important. It is important because it's going to impact those shared goals that you have together. If one person is in a ton of debt and the other person isn't, it can affect how much you guys will be able to contribute to those shared goals of yours. So opening up that conversation early is going to help you both navigate that as you enter into marriage. Now, moving on to number 4, this is something that if you went through this process, it would actually require financial disclosures, and that is discussing a prenup, a prenuptial agreement. So what exactly is a prenup? It's basically a legal document that you sign pre-nuptials, so before you get married, and the document is going to stipulate a few things regarding your marriage, specific to your assets, so your money and your property. Now, I will tell you now, not everyone is going to need a prenup. It just really depends on your guys' needs and your guys' financial situations. But it is something that you want to discuss. So a lot of people think that if you're getting a prenup, you already think you're going to get divorced, but that is a misconception because that document is determining how you guys are going to name your assets, as in who is going to own it. At the end of the day, if couples don't get a prenup or a marital agreement, because you can actually sign one. You can actually get a post-nup agreement after you're already married. But if you don't get any agreement on your own, what happens is you technically have a prenup. It's whatever your state's laws say. So every state has its own laws that determines how your property is handled before, during, and after a marriage. So for example, I live in California, which is considered a community property state. In community property states, assets that you acquire during a marriage is generally considered to belong equally to both of the spouses. That means if I'm making a ton of money at my job and I'm married, if I've acquired that money while we were already married, then technically, according to the state, that money belongs to both spouses. I could try to hide it in my own individual bank account, but technically it could end up being owned by both of us. Now that doesn't really come into play, of course, unless there is a separation or a divorce. But the key takeaway here is if you don't get your own marital agreement, at the very least, you should definitely understand how it works in your state. How is property treated in your state? You want to understand what that is, and if you don't like your state's laws, then you might want to consider getting a premarital agreement. Now, the biggest reasons that people don't get prenups is, one, these things cost money because both partners are going to need lawyers, and lawyers cost money. And number two, people don't think they need one because they think they're never going to break up. They're going to live happily ever after. And look, I hope that happens for you, for me, for everyone who wants to be in a lifelong committed marriage. But unfortunately, things do happen. So this is sort of just a backup plan. All right, quick intermission before we hit those last 3 tips. If this video is helping you at all, or if you're learning anything out of it, please hit the like button and make sure you subscribe, tell a friend, because it really helps out my channel and I appreciate all of you guys. All right, let's jump back to that list. Number 5, something you want to do with your partner before you get married is to create a money management system. So before you tie the knot, if you don't already have a money management system, you want to figure out how the two of you are going to manage your money together. One part of this is a continuation of what we already discussed. So financial disclosures, like sharing your assets and your debts. But if you can go a step further and start to understand how you currently manage income and expenses, that's going to help you guys out a lot. So you want to share information like how much you make, how much you typically spend, what bank accounts you guys own, what credit cards you have, how you save, how you invest, how you attack debt. Share with each other how you guys do these things, and you might learn stuff from each other and decide whether or not you want to change that current system. Because part of this is you guys figuring out how are you going to manage or combine elements of your finances. Are you going to open any joint accounts? How are you going to split expenses if someone has more income than the other person? What if that changes later in life? Obviously, you can't predict these changes, but you want to make sure that you guys have a system of communication, at least, if these things happen and things change within your guys' finances. And this obviously all relates back to number 1 on this list, because if you're comfortable talking about money with your partner, then your thoughts, your feelings, your logistics of money are all going to be easier to talk about throughout life, throughout the ups and downs in life, and throughout all of the money decisions that you guys are going to have in life together. All right, number 6, financial to-do. Number 6, you want to review and discuss insurance. On that note, on talking about money, you want to talk about insurance. So evaluate your health insurance, your life insurance, your auto insurance policies, and generally consider whether you need to update beneficiaries, whether you need to combine policies or get rid of any, or whether you need to purchase additional coverage. When you understand what coverage each other has, you can figure out where there are gaps and where maybe you have too much coverage, and you can probably end up saving money if you combine policies, or one person moves to another person's health insurance. Some of these things can be major benefits to getting married, but in order to take advantage of them, you have to know what types of policies each person has. One example is life insurance. If one partner relies on the other person's income for living expenses, then having life insurance is going to be critical because God forbid if something happened to your spouse and you relied on their income, you would want to make sure that you're at least taken care of for a certain amount of time to figure out your life. All right, on to the last one on this list. Number 7, something that you guys should do together before you get married is to build an emergency fund. So this applies to everyone, not just if you're getting married. I mean, if you're single, you got to do this too. But you need an emergency fund. So I suggest having a joint emergency fund for your guys' shared life together. I have another sad and kind of surprising, but not surprising statistic, and that is that US News reports that 56% of newlyweds go into debt for their wedding. And I know that because I'm currently planning my wedding now, and that is not cheap. It is not cheap at all. But if you think about it, for a lot of people who get married at the same time they have their wedding, if they're taking on debt to have this wedding, that means they're starting off their marriage in debt. 56% is more than half of couples. So one way to help strengthen your foundation before you get married is to build an emergency fund. So I always talk about emergency funds. I have a video up here you can watch if you want to learn more about them and what they are. But this is just something that you will want to talk to your partner about and plan for. I personally think that getting some kind of emergency fund together takes precedence before even having a wedding. It's going to really help you guys have some peace of mind going into your marriage, knowing that if something were to happen, you have a cushion of money to tap into. There's obviously a lot more nuance to marriage depending on how you and your partner currently manage your finances, what your guys' relationships to money is like, and also if there's family involved in your finances. Some people have children, some people have to support other family members, some people have parents who are overly involved in their finances and their lives. But I'm hoping that at the very least, these 7 items help you cover some of the main areas that you want alignment with your partner before your big day. All right, until next time, peace out.